Hello, my friend. Welcome again, and thank you for Joining me. If you are new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, remember to smash the like button. Okay, what are we gonna be talking about today? Today, I've been thinking. Well, I always do think anyway. I thought about what can we do this video on, and I thought, what are the biggest news this week? The main headlines. There are some news this week that were not covered by the mainstream media, and I thought I could do a little review. Today is Saturday. The what do they? I think today is the 19th of November, and I'm making this video from Northampton, here in United Kingdom. Okay, what seems to have transpired this week is we've all seen the limit to propaganda and limits to information warfare. And there's a saying, if you keep lying, as some say, people that you are lying to will know that you are lying. And that seems to have been what happened with the missile incident that killed two people in Poland. As we all knew, or that everybody knows now, the Ukrainian president Zelensky was quick to blame the missile on Russia without any proof. And this has been seen as by many people, many commentators, as kind of regard Zelensky as being very irresponsible, because they believe what he was trying to do was to trigger a world war, to seriously escalate the war we've got in Ukraine at the moment. Yes, it might be a desperate step or measure or statement due to the situation that his fan is people living in, which is very unfortunate, especially with regard to being no electricity and no eating, and in some places no water either. But when it was reported by the United States and some NATO countries, even not very long after the incident, we had reports by some analysts or experts having seen the picture of the debris of the missile that struck that border region in Poland, that it was an S-300 missile. And not long afterwards, also, we had the commentaries or the statement by President Biden of the United States that said it is very unlikely that the missile was by Russian Federation. But what happens afterward was Zelensky simply doubled down on his on unsubstantiated, or on his statement without evidence that it was a Russia missile, and that the West should act without hesitation as soon as possible. Obviously, this triggered further condemnation by some of his supporters and people that has been supportive of his government and the war effort. The mayor of, in Poland, the mayor of Lublin made a statement that if it is proven that this was done by by Ukraine, then Ukraine should be told in no certain times that this should not happen again. And we also had a few other commentators. There was a French politician by the name Nicolas Dupont something, that it's been proven that Zelensky was irresponsible and tried to get NATO to go into war, or at least France, which would have resulted in the death of from French people, he suggested or made a statement that French government should stop supplying weapons or supporting the Ukraine government. We also had a few NATO ambassadors, and there was in Ukraine that actually was very irritated by Zelensky doubling down after President Biden made the statement that the missile was not by Russian Federation, that it is beyond ridiculous. Now, basically what he's trying to say, we know you've been lying, and we put up with all your lies, but this time around, don't make this lie because this is not going to get you any favors. And the Polish president said, okay, it was an accident. We understand. And many people actually expected Zelensky to have come out and say, okay, look, we didn't mean to. It was an accident. We're sorry. And that was it. It would have been over. They will still support them. Basically, what I'm trying to say is because he always made a statement and he was trying to do a propaganda warfare, which this time around backfired dramatically, and he has to more or less clamp down on his statement, saying that okay, I'm no longer sure, I'm not 100% sure that it could have been done by the Russian armed forces. Okay, the other theories anyway, like okay, maybe it's because NATO doesn't want to get involved with direct confrontation with Russia. That's why they're saying that. But from all available evidence and what we know so far, it is almost certainly that it was a missile from Ukraine. Sure, I mean, well, it was a missile fired by Ukraine. It basically is a false flag from other commentators because the direction of the missile is contrary to the direction of the missile that was sent to that struck parts of Ukraine. There were other propaganda in the past that has since been exposed as nothing more than or other incidents, such as the report that Russian armed forces were giving Viagra to rape Ukrainian women. We have since found out from the UN special representative or rapporteur that she did not have any evidence. She just decided to accept the evidence that was supplied by the Ukrainian side. But she doubted it anyway, she said. And another news this week that seems to have escaped the headline was that of there was a case between Gazprom and the Finnish gas company. I can't remember the exact name of the company in Finland. And Gazprom was basically awarded over 300 million euros plus interest for breach of contract for because basically they have a contract with Finland to supply Finland with gas for quite a long time, many years ago, and then they decided to terminate the contract. And the court also recognized the reason why the country asked for payment in rubles and urged them to come to a settlement. Meanwhile, either way, Finland must pay Gazprom over 300 million for gas that has not been supplied because it is not the fault of Gazprom. It is they that they don't want. So they still have to pay for the gas, whether they got the gas or not. Because there's a contract in the agreement that says take or pay. Whether you take it or not, you still have to pay. And they have to pay. Okay. It's a very rare occasion whereby we actually got a case whereby a case has been won by Russian Federation in the last few months since the beginning of this conflict or war in Ukraine. Another headline that many of the mainstream media have not covered is a report of the arrest of some Azov affiliated people or terrorists that tried to blow up a number of buildings or targets in Italy. And basically, this was not reported, and it's the first time that extremists that are linked to Ukraine have actually tried to carry out terrorist acts outside of Ukraine. But they were caught anyway. So they were evident. This is a clear evidence that there were right-wing terrorists in Ukraine. But again, as we all know, or people that follow this um, conflict, not just from the side of the mainstream media, but try to look at it from the other side. Also, try to be objective, not just believing everything. I don't believe everything from either side. I'd like to make up my own mind. It was reported that they were arrested, and that was it. We also had a number of videos that surfaced this week that shows Ukrainian forces actually that killed a number that killed unarmed Russian army, members of Russian armed forces that already surrendered. And it is very surprising that the media that always accuse one side of committing war crime seems to always turn a blind eye to the other side, even when they are near excuse. This was on video. And also this week also, we had a report by the United Nations Human Rights Council that did a report on the prisoners of war. And what the report is a damning report actually. And that was before the video that we now know that existed was made known. This was not even considered. In the report, okay, both sides were accused of actually committing acts that were contrary to war laws of war against the Geneva Convention, I will assume. But whereas the Russian armed forces were accused of beating and sometimes threatening to molest or assault people, sexually assault, but they did not actually do it, but they just threatened verbally. The Ukrainian side actually not just threatened, but also do this. And in many cases, whereas, okay, there was zero evidence that Russian Federation armed forces killed any of the POWs. Whereas, according to the United Nations, there were evidence that said there were summary execution by Ukrainian armed forces, and this was not covered by the mainstream media. So, okay, somebody beat, but the other person not just beat, but also kills. So what is that? That is war crime. So we add that one, and it is very surprising, really. And then you can also compare the same thing to the report by Amnesty International that was more or less not dismissed, but well, technically it was dismissed by Ukrainian government and many of the Western government, and as usual they blame everything on the other side, just like they blame the missile that went into Poland on Russia, saying that okay, it is if it did not start the war in the first place, it would not have happened. And other people say okay, if you had allowed Ukraine to negotiate also, this may not have happened. And Amnesty International also said the same thing a few months back, that Ukraine was using civilian buildings, schools, as military camps and putting weapons there, putting people at arm's way, and that was also time to be a war crime. Anyway, that's why I'm gonna end this video, or just about. Oh, before I finish, I think I might have one other news item here. Okay, 1 second. Anyway, as we all know, every leader that anyone that comes to power now in the West, in the European countries, must pay homage to the King Zelensky. And I believe the British Prime Minister has been today to go and kiss the ring of King Zelensky and promise more aids, while people in Britain here are suffering, give more billions, why they are asking us to pay more taxes, giving more money when we need to invest. And rather than give money, putting the effort they put in into arming this country, they should put the effort also into getting them to negotiating table and discuss peace, because there's no other way to end this war but through negotiations and peace talks. As some say, both sides will have to sit down and talk. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to press the like button, and you can share with your friends, and also please remember to subscribe. Thank you very much and have a good time. Good day to you.